Okay, students, so today we're going to look at graphing linear inequalities. Now, inequalities in the graphing stage are very similar to graphing linear equations, but the inequality tells me that a lot more solutions are going to be available based on what the inequality says. So you have your notes page, and so we're going to look at that. There are a couple of things that you need to know first before we actually get started into graphing. When you're graphing inequalities, we first graph the line in slope intercept form. Okay, and you'll remember that that is y equals mx plus b. So we're just going to graph the line just like we would if it was an equation. But here's the trick. If the inequality includes less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, the line will be solid. Okay, that's important to know. If the inequality includes less than or greater than, and there's no or equal to's, then the line is going to be dotted, or as I like to say, dashed. Okay? So that's important to know. The first thing is when I graph the line, I've got to know, is it going to be a solid line or a dotted line? A solid line means that anything on that line is included in the inequality statement. A dotted line means that anything on the line is not included in the inequality statement. So after graphing the line, you will need to shade the region of the graph that makes the inequality statement true. Okay? If the inequality includes less than or equal to or less than, then we're going to shade below the line. If the inequality includes greater than or equal to or greater than, then we're going to shade above the line. Okay? And this will make a little bit more sense as we go through. Now, first of all, let's talk about inequalities. Why would we use inequalities? Inequalities might be used in a business when we're deciding, for instance, when am I going to make a profit? Now, if you've ever sold anything, maybe for like a fundraiser or something, you know that you don't have to sell just one certain amount to make a profit. Anything that you sell above that amount is also profit. It's just more profit. So it's greater than or equal to what you want your profit to be. So that's kind of how we would use these inequality statements. So let's look at the first example. Y is less than 3x minus 4. So I'm going to graph it just like it was y equals 3x minus 4. And that means that I'm going to find my slope is 3 and my y-intercept, b, is negative 4. So I'm going to graph b is negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to put a dot there. And I'm going to use my slope to find my next points. And the slope is positive 3, so I'm going to go up 3 to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1, and I'm going to do one more, 1, 2, 3, just for fun. Now before I draw the line, I've got to notice that my inequality statement is less than, so my line has to be dotted. So I'm going to get my ruler, just like we always do, and I'm going to draw a dotted line through these points. I still put arrows, and I still go outside of the graph, and so that is y is less than 3x minus 4. Now because it's less than, I need to shade below the line. So below the line is going to be everything over here, and I don't have to color it in every little part. I'm just going to do these little hash marks or whatever you want to call it to shade in, so that I know that every point in the shaded area will make this statement true. So let's pick a point. Let's say 3 comma 1. 3 comma 1 is right here. I'm going to put it in green. It's going to be my test point, 1, 2, 3 comma 1. So if I plug in 3 comma 1 into my inequality statement, it says 3 times 3, because x is 9 minus 4 is 5. Is 5 greater than 1, or is 1 less than 5? Absolutely. So that means that everything in the shaded region makes this inequality statement true. So now let's look at the next one over here. I'll use a different color. I've got y is greater than or equal to negative 1/2 x plus 2. So I'm going to graph it just like it's y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2, where my slope is negative 1/2 and b equals 2. So I'm going to graph my y-intercept. I'm going to go to my slope is -1/2, so I can go down 1 and to the right 2, or I could go up 1 and to the left 2. And there's my 3 points. Now, the inequality statement is greater than or equal to, so that means I have to do a solid line. So I'm going to draw a solid line. And then shading. It's greater than, so I'm going to draw shade in everything above the line, so that's where the shading would be. And again, every point that's in the shaded area, and in this case including every point on the line, is going to make this inequality statement true. Now, you have 2 other graphs down here that I want you to try on your own, so graph those and then we'll talk about those in Math Workshop.